Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Peanut butter.
I can't say it that high.
So what's MILF Manor?
So these women, it's funny. Whenever you gotta picture Shay, she says, "Okay, there's older women about 40 to 60, and they're on a TV show to date like a younger man.
Yeah.
So they know this. Well, so they're standing there, and then there's a reveal of all the guys." But what they don't know is every guy on the show has a mom that's one of the MILFs.
No.
How hilarious. So these moms are watching their sons date these like cougars.
That is a bummer.
I was like, I need to watch this so bad. This poor show. I need to watch this.
What up, homies? It's your boy Stev. Today I'm with my sister Ash.
Hi.
And today we are talking the movie Secret Window. It's a Stephen King adaptation. I've never read the short story, so there's that.
Neither did I.
But this is one of your picks.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to explain the movie, go right ahead.
I love this movie. So there's this author. I already forget his name. Such a normal name.
No, it's not a normal name. Wait, are we talking about the guy who shows up or the guy?
No, Shooter.
John Shooter is the guy who shows up.
No, who's Johnny Depp?
Like Mortimer Raines or something. It's such a weird name.
Mort is his nickname. We don't know his last name.
It is such a weird name. So we're not in spoilers yet. So it's such a weird name that I'm like, that's got to be an anagram for something, or like something fucking. There's going to be a twist. And it totally was not a twist. It's just a bizarre name. But go ahead.
So Mort is an author, and this guy shows up named John Shooter, and he's like, "You stole my book." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "You stole my book word for word, but you changed the ending." He's like, "We have a problem because you stole my book." And Johnny Depp's character Mort is like, "I never took your book. Like, my book was released in 1994 in a magazine. Yours came out in 96. And so they're trying to figure out what's going on. And he actually got a screenplay of John Shooter's version, and it is word for word.
Yeah, like the opening paragraph is literally the exact same paragraph.
But the only difference is John Shooter had a better ending.
Yeah.
And that's what the movie is about, is Johnny Depp's character trying to get the proof and just spiraling down more and more because he lives alone in the woods.
Yeah, so that's important too. That's also important in the story is right off the bat, Johnny Depp's character finds his wife in bed with another guy.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of a divorce the whole movie.
It's like 6 months later after the divorce.
Yeah.
After finding.
Yeah. And so he's living in the middle of the woods. She's living in the house that they bought.
They have.
So he's a famous author. And then, you're right. So, John Shooter shows up, played by John Turturro, who's fantastic, actually, in this movie.
I only know him as I'm very sneaky, sir.
Mr.
Unfortunately,
Deeds.
that's all I know. Mr. Deeds, isn't it?
Mr. Deeds,
I'm very sneaky, sir.
So he shows up and, things just start spiraling more and more and more as this guy is like, "No, you stole my story." And Johnny Depp's character is like, "I know for a fact I did not steal your story.
Yeah.
I definitely published it before you. I know for a fact." But every time he goes to prove it, something happens.
Yeah.
And it gets more and more messed up, whereas more people start to get hurt, and he starts to get more threatening as the movie goes on. And the whole thing is I just want you to change the ending. I just want you to change the ending back to my ending. It's a better ending. And that's that's pretty much what it is. So it's directed by David Cowitt, I believe his name is, who's more famous as a writer. He wrote the Jurassic Park.
Okay.
He wrote Jurassic Park 1 and 2. I don't know if he wrote 3. I'm not actually sure on that one.
3 is okay.
Yeah. Well, that's
Isn't the T-Rex baby number 2?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
The T-Rex baby. Is that the one with they go to New York City? Or no, not New York City. It's Seattle or something.
You said Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, and the second one has who's the tall drink of water from the breakup? Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Isn't he in the second one?
Yeah.
So the first and second one are great.
They're pretty good.
It's the third one where you're kind of like, oh,
it's more
right.
it's.
Then Jurassic World was great.
Yeah.
And then went.
I think the first two are really good, and especially a lot of people don't like the second one so much, but I like them especially if you watch them together. Watch them as
Yeah,
like,
back to back.
They're pretty fucking solid. And he definitely wrote both of those. He wrote like the last two Indiana Jones movies. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even seen the newest one yet.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
But yeah, he wrote Panic Room, which is a fucking awesome movie.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
It's a good one. We should watch that one day. It's a good David Fincher
Who's
movie.
in it? The main chick is in it.
Well, Jodie Foster's the
Yeah.
main girl, and
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart plays like the daughter. It's like one of the first things I ever saw her in.
Yeah, I haven't really seen it since
And
really it came out. I bet a long time.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. I remember, and see,
It is Jodie Foster. I can picture the face. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually weird though. Both of these movies, strangely, both Panic Room and this movie do a weird thing in the trailer. I remember the trailers when they came out, and the final shots of both trailers. It's as if something weirdly supernatural is going on. Like in Panic Room, she looks up and you see the fire on the ceiling, which is like, it's very well explained in the movie, but like in a trailer, you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then in Secret Window, you see the crack of the wall going, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you see the door like pounding.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what the fuck's going on? Like out of context, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it makes it look supernatural. It makes more sense when you watch the movie, but yeah. So he does Panic Room, which is fantastic, and but he hasn't directed a lot. He's directed a couple movies. He directed like Premium Rush, which was pretty good. Before this, he directs I think it's just called Stir of Echoes. I think the book's called A Stir of Echoes.
Okay.
But anyway, with Kevin Bacon, which in my opinion is actually a better horror movie. I don't know. He's not really going for horror though. Would you
I don't
say
think
this is
horror. This is more suspense, if anything, because you're like, did he?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
is
more of a
he
thriller.
crazy? Is he not? Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're like, you're starting to believe that he didn't.
Yeah, and then there's like this whole thing where it's like, and it's pretty early on.
Sorry, I gotta readjust. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, pretty early on, you find out that he has plagiarized before, so it's like,
Yeah, because the wife was like,
it's like, it's just,
did you do it again?
yeah, which they never really explain it so much. Just like it's kind of just a little like,
Yeah.
he's done this before. Yeah, no, I think
But that's because he was drinking.
yeah, well, she's still drinking though. He's still half in the bag. Anyway, when the movie begins, but yeah, no, sorry, I was gonna say something else, but I completely. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's a thriller. We were talking about it's a thriller, and that makes sense for the music in this movie. What do you think of the music in this movie?
I don't mind it. It's
Yeah.
very suspenseful.
See, and that's it. I feel like the movie, the music is very like. There was a lot of movies that came out at this time that had that type of music.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's very of its time,
Yeah.
weirdly, even though it was only like, actually, it was quite a little while ago. It was like 15 years ago.
But
wasn't
that was like the era of like the Sixth Sense era and
it? Yes.
all of those. Like that's
Yes.
suspenseful. The movie is very brown and gray.
Yes,
Like
100%. Actually,
Yeah.
that's a great point. I didn't even think about the like Shyamalan movies. You're right. Like it's very.
it's all the same
kind of that
era.
idea.
Yeah.
But I found the music kind of almost gets in the way sometimes. There was one particular scene where I was watching it and I'm like, if this scene had no music, it would be a fucking dynamite scene. And it was the scene where he wakes up. It's about halfway through the movie. Wakes up, his keys are missing. He's like, what the fuck? Looks outside. The hat is on the porch. He's like, and then he looks forward and there's his car is in the driveway and the door's open
But with the cars running.
and the car's running. And he's like, and then he gets in the car and he like looks around. And he's like, that's fucking weird. That whole scene has like a musical score that's
I didn't
pretty
even
loud.
notice.
I'm
But
like,
if it was silent, that'd be
completely
hilarious.
silent, it would be like so suspenseful. Just him looking
Because that's
around.
what he's listening to is the woods.
Yeah.
Where there's nothing.
And it'd be so with the music, because I don't know, like anytime you hear music, like louder music that's supposed to be distracting in a movie, it almost removes tension. It removes suspense. You know nothing bad's going to happen. You know
Yeah.
nothing's going to jump out at you because we have music. Why would
Yeah.
you have a musical score if you're going to have something jump? Like
That's a
that doesn't
good
make any
point.
sense. So watching it, I'm like, oh, this would be so tight if it didn't have any music at all. And especially if the rest of the movie had music and then this one scene didn't, you'd be like, oh, it even work a little even better.
But I don't think back then we were really for jump scares, were we?
I mean, like, there's jump scares have been around for forever, right? But
My favorite jump scare ever is the Hill House. Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, which one?
Whenever they're arguing in the car.
I don't even remember that one.
Oh my God. The two, like, they're like screaming at each other in the car, and then she comes from the middle and she's like, ah, screams in the middle. Fuck, I probably pooped. It was so scary. And I'm not one to get scared. I go in haunted houses and I'm fine. I can get creeped out.
Yeah.
But not like, I really don't. But that part got me.
You know, there's one jump scare I always think of in Saw that I think is really good. The first Saw movie, when he's walking around the house and his power's off. When Adam's walking around the house and the power's out.
Oh, and he does the flash.
And he's taking pictures with just to see the flash of light.
Yeah.
And he opens the closet, and it's so slow. He opens the closet, and he aims his camera, and it's so slow. And then he takes the flash, and the dude jumps out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good jump scare right there.
The other one is the Conjuring, whenever the clapping.
That's a solid jump scare.
It's like
actually.
right in the dark, right beside the face. Holy.
You know what's funny? Another James Wan movie, because it's the Saw and the Conjuring from James Wan. Insidious has another one where like the camera, I don't know if the camera pans or it just cuts to him, but they're talking to somebody at a table and it cuts back and the monster's just standing behind them. It's like, oh shit, that's a good one. Oh no. That's a good one.
Because we talk about like jump scares and then like creepiness. I think you're right. I think we're getting into the era where creepiness is more sought after, like, because one of the most greatest ghost movies, in my opinion, everyone's going to probably disagree, is Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
But the second one, there's a specific thing when they put it on the fan, and the fan moves from room to room, and you're just sitting there, like, staring at this fan, and you have your hands, like, on your face with your blanket covering, like, oh my God, what's in the other room? And then there's nothing. You're like,
true.
what's back in the other room? And then everything falls from the kitchen.
That's the one that gets me. That's the one that gets me because it's like.
Sorry, I don't mean to yell.
No, that's another one that gets me because it's like, it's so.
Because you don't know. I didn't know what she was staring at.
That's
and
it.
she's just standing
in,
there.
And it's funny because it's not an oscillating one. It's just a very stationary. She just walks in and she's like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, boom!
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, shit.
So I think you're right. I think now lately it's more creepy.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about before The Mist, and it's that, not The Mist, the other one, The Fog, and it was that that cloth that's like waving in the air beside the car.
Yeah.
But it's silent, and you're like creeped out because you're like,
No, I think what I was thinking of when you said the cloth, I think I'm thinking of Drag Me to Hell. Is that the one where
know.
There's a scene where, because it's a really solid scare that's not a jump scare.
Yeah.
Where she like is in her car and then the handkerchief starts floating.
That's what I'm thinking of.
And she's following it around her car, and then like past the back window. So the camera goes all the way back window, and it's not until you're like really looking at it that you realize there's somebody sitting in the back seat.
Whoa.
But it's just like so subtle. There's nothing like.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the girl, and she obviously notices there's somebody in the back seat. And then it cuts back to the person, and it's just a silhouette. And then they lean forward, and there's just the slightest bit of light on her face, and she like says something to her. And it's like, Jesus Christ, this is terrifying.
So that's what I think. Like, this movie is attaching itself to that. Like, we don't need jump scares. We can creep you out by itself, right? Because there's that part where he's searching his house, and it's just, there's no music, I don't think, and he's just, and you're like, oh my God, like, where is he? Because I'm picturing myself, like, security guard left. Fuck. Fuck. Like, I would be the one to have to search my house by myself. That would be my luck.
I legit had this the other day. We went to a Canada Day party on Monday, whatever the fuck that day was. So, when we came home, the front door was wide open. But it was one of those weird things where we're like, did I leave the front door
out of here?
Because I'm the one who locked it, and I'm like, I'm fucking positive I did not leave this door wide open. But it was weird. It was odd because we walked out. I remember we walked out, and the kids across the street had like a little lemonade stand set up.
Get out of here. I would have totally got lemonade.
So we went and got lemonade.
You were totally distracted with the fucking kids.
So it's
and then they're the ones that robbed you. It's a whole setup.
It's a scam.
It's a scam. Yeah. That's it. And while you're like, here's your 25 cents, the kids already raided your house. Yeah. That's it, man. Yeah. Fucking children.
Gave him a nice tip, too. No, but so
Holy
it's one of those
fuck,
things where
I
like,
hate that.
it came home. It was probably 11 at night. Probably later. Probably like 11. Probably 11.
Oh, you guys stayed that late?
Yeah, we did stay pretty
Holy.
late actually.
I left early.
Yeah, you were gone.
Yeah, I'll tell you why later.
No, you're right. So yeah, we get home. Doors wide open. I'm like, well, that's fucking crazy. So I was like, stay here. I went inside. So I had to
You
go.
were such a man.
Yeah. So I had to go outside.
You've been waiting
go
for that
inside
moment.
my whole life.
For
I'm gonna prove-
Melissa, stay here. I'll take care of it.
I walk in. I'm like, anybody in here? Fucking
Literally.
big dude jumps up. I'm like, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. so
Obviously nothing.
no, nothing happened. I walked in. I like looked around. All our stuff was still here. I was like, that's weird. I even went downstairs and checked even in the cold, like checked all the basement. I'm like, no one here. I must have left the door open myself. But
The first thing because sometimes my bottom door unlocks and I have to go in the house alone, I always check for my laptops.
that's the
First thing. Where I'm like,
checked,
okay, and we don't hide them. They're in plain sight. So
Yeah.
I'm like, if I see something expensive immediately, we're good.
That's what I was thinking
Yeah,
too.
and I kind of walk through still.
TV's
But
still here. Yeah.
yeah,
like,
that's what I mean, right? Because I usually leave cash too, like just hanging around because I don't really.
Even the car keys are like right there. The
Oh,
car's still here.
and the
I'm like,
car is
okay,
still there. Yeah. They just took a joyride and brought them back peacefully. Did they take all the dead battery? Did they switch out your remotes for dead batteries?
I thought about that actually. That's what they did. They switched
I
out all
haven't
the.
heard that Dane Cook joke in years. I didn't want to actually rob anybody. I just wanted to do a
I
B&E.
just want to kick a door.
I just wanted to kick a door open. Anybody, look up that joke.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Why would he kick this closet door and there's not even a locking mechanism? He could have just opened it.
And the one he brought his friend, and his friend's like, a car is coming. And he's like, yes, there are lots of cars. If you hear a blue whale, you let me know.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
That is weird.
There are plenty of cars in the world, yeah.
Oh, just the way he does it is hilarious.
No, it's true. He's like, you always take the friend that does not want to go.
He's like, we're jumping through backyards.
100% honesty. Every time I hear that joke, I relate because I am that friend. I'm the one who, when we were growing up, I was like, what are we doing, guys? Why are we hopping these fences?
Why do we have to go to the abandoned house?
Why don't we just walk 45 minutes out of our way to go
Holy
around?
crap. I was maybe back then, but now I'm... Anyways, we're going off.
I like to say I'm braver. I don't think so.
That's hilarious. Now I'm like, sure, whatever. I'm here. Whatever. If I get arrested, this is pretty funny. And my family's got me, I think. They'll bail me out. I don't know. But me, I'm taken care of.
Hey, listen. It's true. Let's talk about the cast. Johnny Depp.
I love.
Very good. So it's one of the rare...
This is like before like his big thing, which was Pirates, in my opinion.
So I want to say this either came out right after or it was filmed right after, but it was right after the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. So like...
Stop. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I want to say this came out just after. So it was like...
Pirates did not come out that long ago.
It was.
This is like the 90s.
This isn't the 90s. This is 2000s, for sure. This is the year after Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm pretty positive.
Wow.
Yeah, this is
like I didn't think he was big yet. I thought he was just like he was big because he's Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
But I think he was like Edward Scissorhands big, but not like Pirates
Jack
big yet.
So I think when he was filming it, he wasn't Jack Sparrow big, but like then that comes out and he's like a superstar. He gets nominated for an Oscar, I want to say, for that movie. Like,
for Pirates.
Yeah, for Pirates.
He deserved it.
Yeah,
I got a jar of dirt.
So one of the rare Johnny Depp performances where he's just normal.
Yeah.
Like he's just a normal guy.
Yeah.
Like
there's nothing weird about him.
Yeah, he's very
Tim
much...
Burton did not have his way with him yet.
No.
Yeah, he's just, but he really is. It's just an average guy. He looks shaggy. He looks like he's been divorced.
Yeah.
Like he just looks exactly like he should.
He drinks
the
a little
house
bit.
coat with the giant hole in it. Like it's perfect.
Definitely. I think he's great. Charles S. Dutton plays the detective. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Maria Bello, I believe her name is, plays the ex-wife.
Who I like. I think she's pretty.
She's great in this. She's really good in Thank You for Smoking. If anybody's like,
which
she
I
plays
love
like
that.
the alcohol.
That's one
spokesperson.
movie we should put on the list.
I'm down. I will totally watch that.
That's a good one. I'll put that down because I really like that movie.
We'll do a Maria Bello double.
It's hard to talk about though because I don't want to.
Excuse me.
Because I love him. What the fuck is his name? Harvey, but it's not Harvey.
Not even Harvey Dent. You mean Aaron Eckhart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to be on his side so bad. Like, I'm so torn.
Well, that's it.
Like, I don't like smoking, but I love him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what he's good at, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not necessarily about, and he has this. So we're tangent a little bit. Where he has this fantastic moment with this kid where he's like, all right. So the kid's like, what do you do for a living? He's like, all right. Let's say we're in the middle of a debate about ice cream. You're for chocolate, I'm for vanilla. I'm gonna say vanilla ice cream is the best ice cream in the world. What are you gonna say?
Chocolate's the best.
And he's like, well, what if I respond? It's not about chocolate or vanilla ice cream. In fact, it's not about chocolate ice cream either. It's about freedom. It's about freedom of choice and expression.
That we can both have favorites and it won't matter.
And then the kid's like, but that's not what we're talking about. And he's like, but that's what I'm talking about. And it's like, it's super interesting because it's like, I want to be on his side too because it's true.
He's so good.
You should be able to choose what we want to do. He is working for a company that is very unfavorable and kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But the thing, so they all do, right? Like, so Maria Bello works for alcohol, and then the other dude,
it's for guns.
It's for firearms, yeah. So the Mod Squad. But either way, so she's fantastic. She's a lot of other shit.
I know the new boyfriend. I know him.
So that's Timothy Hutton. You know what's funny is you actually brought up The Haunting of Hill House. He plays the dad. Not when they're kids, but when they're adults.
Stop.
Yeah, so that's him.
I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, was a little older. Right? It's been
it's been
15 years. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. I love that show. If you haven't seen that show, you gotta watch that. The Haunting of Hill House. It's on Netflix.
It's actually funny.
Don't watch Bly Manor. Just watch the first one. You can skip Bly Manor.
Yeah, Bly Manor is the worst of his. Midnight Madness. No, sorry, Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass was great.
So good.
I did not expect that twist.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a good one.
And then the Fall of House Usher is also very, very good.
I didn't even know that was... No.
You didn't watch Fall of House Usher? No. Oh, Ashley.
All right,
you gotta watch the Fall of House.
I've been watching Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders.
Hey,
okay,
I watched that too.
I bet you did.
No, you know what's funny is Melissa was watching it. The Fall of House Usher. So it's like the third in like, if like you say Haunting of Hill House,
Bly Manor,
and then this is kind of the third.
Do I have to watch either one?
No. It's like they're both like standalone. They're all based off of like books.
Okay.
This one is based off of all the books by Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh.
So it's very...
I don't really know very much.
But it's very cool. It's a very, very cool.
I'll check it out.
So if you like... It's from the same guy who did Haunting of Hill House.
Midnight Mass, I think I crushed in like 2 days.
Me too. I've crushed them all. It's one of those things where every time I put it on, I put on one of his like television series, and I'm like, I'll just check out the first episode. And before I know it, I'm watching it in bed. That's how good it is. If I'm watching a show in bed before I go to sleep, that's a good show.
That for us, me and my boyfriend never agree on a show, like to binge watch. That fucking movie, The Servant. Is that what it was called?
The show? Yeah, it's good.
Oh, with Ron Weasley?
Yeah.
Oh, that had us. I bet. Oh, that and Tiger King.
Oh, Tiger King's the shit.
No, not now, but when it.
Yeah.
That was exhilarating because at the end we kept going, what is going on? And then we watched the next episode. You're like, what is happening? Like it just kept. Anyways, yeah, these shows are great. Anyways,
they're great.
Off topic.
Anyway, but
I didn't know that was him. That's why he looks so familiar. Because I just watched Hill House again recently.
Yeah. So looping it back around. So the guy who does those shows, a gentleman by the name of Mike Flanagan, I believe Flanagan. Anyway, he does a lot of Stephen King adaptations as well.
Okay.
So Midnight Mass is very much like, it's not based off of a Stephen King.
That feels like a Stephen King.
Feels like a Stephen King book. But anyway, he does a lot of, so he did like Doctor Sleep, which is a fantastic sequel to The Shining. He did Gerald's Game, which is a great Stephen King adaptation. And then he's doing a new one right now too. I'm not even sure what it's called, to be honest with you, but he's in the middle of like filming that. I want to say maybe he's done filming it, but so great Stephen King adaptations. Yeah. This is a pretty solid Stephen King adaptation. Like I said, never read the short story, so I couldn't tell you if it's actually spectacular. Adaptation, I mean. But
it's an adaptation of an adaptation.
Yeah.
Me and you both have talked about doing this, but like with Stephen King movies.
Oh yeah.
Because they're so far in between. I think I watched Misery once. I watched Cujo once. I've watched everything once. Pet Sematary is the only one that I can recall most of the movie.
I've watched that movie enough times to like, yeah.
But like the other ones, I'm like, It? I'm like, I just watched It recently only because the second one came out.
Yeah.
And then I never watched the sequel of that one. I think there's 2 new ones. There's 2 new It's, isn't there?
Well, there's the It
Original.
the one with Tim Curry from like the 90s.
Sure, yeah. And then one just came out, and then I think there's a second one.
Yeah, so there's 2.
Yeah, I only saw the first one.
Oh. They're okay.
I love the main actor, though.
Oh, Bill Skarsgård?
Those Skarsgårds, they got it.
They're fantastic.
They nailed it. Yeah, and then I saw him in, I can't pronounce it. Is it Baba Ganoush? What is it called?
Oh, you're talking about Barbarian.
Barbarian. That was
you're thinking of the Babadook, but no, it's Barbarian that he was in.
When you see him and you're like, I already know what's happening.
Yeah.
And you realize you don't know what's happening.
He's the good guy. He's the good guy.
You're like, what? Oh my God. I was expecting him to kill her and he did. And oh my God.
Watch Barbarian. It's a solid fucking
that
movie.
That is not spoilers, by the way.
No.
That's the first, like,
20 minutes tops.
Yeah. Yeah. When you see him, you're like, oh, fuck. Turns out, no, he's fine.
Before we move into spoilers, would you like to rate the flick?
Sure. So this was one of my favorites growing up. I always said, but I'll talk about why later because it's kind of demented. But watching it now, I find it kind of slow and kind of boring now. But I think it's because I've seen what horror movies are now.
Yeah.
And where our minds are now, that I'm like, oh. So I can see why people wouldn't like it. What I do want to know is, for first viewers, how big was that twist?
Yeah.
Because I remember it being huge for me, but now that I've seen it, I went, oh.
Yeah.
All right, I should have seen it coming, maybe. So I give it, out of 10, maybe, I still love the movies, maybe a 7 or 8.
Okay.
7.5. What about you?
I'm gonna give it a 6, and
Okay.
I'll talk about why I'm gonna give it a 6. I think it's very competently written and directed, which is why I give it a 6. I think the cast is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I think Johnny Depp was a perfect choice.
Yeah.
John Shooter was a perfect choice.
Yeah.
I really do think that.
I think there's a lot going for it. It's just very like ho hum. That's my only issue with it. We'll talk about more in spoilers. But there's just like there's nothing really like spectacular about it. It's just very. That's
what I mean.
It's a very simple story. I don't know. I've been using the word simple a lot the last couple of podcasts. I'm trying to stay away from that, but like, it's just just like a meh story, and that's my thing. Yeah. But we'll talk about spoilers.
I completely understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you.
Cool. Okay, cool. Spoilers next. Spoilers!
Spoilers! Spoilers! Ooh, I like that.
So it turns out Johnny Depp is the killer.
Yeah, but I should have seen it coming by the way he was spiraling.
Yeah.
You know what got me was the book, the magazine.
Yeah, I think that's when you're supposed to figure it out. The one that got this time where I'm like, if I didn't figure it out by this point, I probably should have, is the key scene. Where his keys aren't in his pocket, the hat's on the thing, and the truck is... Because it's like, why would his truck... Okay, first of all, why would he have slept in? It makes no sense. And then why is the car... It implies that he drove, met the guy, and then came back. It's just, that's the only reason why his car would have still been on.
That's a good point.
It's like, so it's like...
Because I can see him doing that to bug him, but the fact that he slept in regardless, it's like...
odd, yeah.
You're right. That was a good... Because that's whenever he killed them.
Yes, yeah. That was the one where I'm like, But then you're right. The magazine is the one where you're...
That's where you're like, there's no way he could have intercepted it.
Yeah, it's just no fucking way. And then it's like, that's when you're supposed to be like, no,
but
this is
you know
weird.
what else got me that I should have known immediately was the little things. Like him pulling up in front of her house. And then you see them leave. Yeah. Well, you don't see him go home.
But is that the same night where he burns the house down?
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But it's like, you should have known, like, he didn't
Yeah,
go home.
it's true.
So it's like, oh, well, shit. Like, we should have known right there whenever the house was burnt down that he burned it down.
Yeah. There's another thing, too, where, so the guy's last name is Shooter, and it's supposed to represent shoot her, which is kind of clever.
Oh.
I don't think the first name should have been more clever, though. Like, do you know what I mean? Maybe they should have shared the same first name. And
I thought it was because that's where the new boyfriend is from.
Well, that's the misdirection. Is he says I'm from Shooter's Bay or whatever. That's it's just supposed to be misdirection for the audience. Because, like, I don't know. Would he know that about this Ted guy? How does he know this Ted guy? How does she know this Ted guy? Because he would have had to have known about that before he even created the character in his head.
Didn't they work together? Maybe not.
It never really says.
I don't know how they met. Yeah.
Although I will say about that Ted guy, he's a fucking dick. He deserved to die. Fuck that guy.
I could see him, though, going to Mort's house saying, like, buddy, sign these papers.
He's such a douche. Like, fuck that guy. No, every single thing he does and says in this movie is like the douchey new boyfriend thing to do. And it's almost
been 6 months, though.
Yeah, but it's only been 6 months. Like,
But everything's already done.
Leave the fucking guy alone.
But everything's already done.
Yeah, like,
why not just sign the paper? So that's where I'm kind of like, because they had that meeting where they were like, oh, we already agreed on all the separation. We agreed on everything.
So the insurance meeting.
We just have to sign the papers.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, just sign them. Like, so what's Johnny doing?
He's just purposely not doing it to fuck with them, I think. But
he must have had a plan, maybe. He might have got life insurance. I don't know. Because he got insured. They got paid because their house burnt down.
Yeah.
Well, if she's dead, that means he gets money because he was married.
He keeps everything, yeah.
He was married.
Yeah.
And then did the boyfriend die, I guess?
Yeah, he killed him too. He killed them both.
Well, I just saw the shovel.
Well, it's kind of implied he, like, brings it down on his head.
Oh,
so one thing,
she's, like, screaming.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting about this movie, it's one of the very few Stephen King adaptations that's PG-13. So that's why
fun.
Not a whole lot of blood in it, not a whole lot of violence.
Is Pet Sematary bad?
I feel like, yeah. I want to say the opening of Pet Sematary, not the opening, but like pretty much is when they bring Pascal in and he's fucking covered in blood. He just got hit by a truck.
Yeah.
So and then he follows him around the whole movie looking like that. So
yeah, maybe.
I don't know though. It's actually a pretty soft R though.
It is.
To be honest.
I don't think it's that R. I don't think it's really that scary. Like, in a way, it's scary for a different reason. It's creepy.
Yeah.
Like, I can't watch the Blair Witch Project because it just creeps me out too much. I don't like it. Not a fan.
Yeah.
But it's like that creepiness. I don't think there's... Anyways, it doesn't matter.
I hear you. No, I hear you. Creepy is important. Like...
But just the whole time, I want to be uncomfortable. That's a great horror movie for me. To just sit here and just like, fuck. The whole time. Like,
yeah.
God damn it. Like, I want to feel that. Right? Yeah, I think that's why I'm bored of these old horror movies, because it's just the murderer, Jason or Michael, just walking, catching up.
Yeah.
And it's just like... Actually,
speaking of that, off topic a little bit, I just watched the movie the other day. So we'll get into it. Okay, hold on. I just watched the movie the other day, and it's called Of a Violent Nature.
Okay.
And it's going to sound weird, but it's a Friday the 13th movie, pretty much. It's like pretty much Friday the 13th from the perspective of the killer.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like it opens with like this like weird grave site where there's a necklace hanging on like a thing. And it's like these teenagers or like, they're like more like young adults or more like in their 20s. And they're like, what's this? I'm going to take it. And someone's like, oh, it's cursed. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, fuck you kind of thing. And they take the necklace and then they just drive away. And then all of a sudden from the grave, like this big monster crawls out. And the movie is like this monster trying to get his necklace back. And the camera just literally follows him as he just fucking just walks through this forest and just kills anybody that he sees. And it's pretty bizarre. It was filmed in Ontario. It was filmed like here.
So, oh my God. Is it a good movie?
You know what? It's going to sound weird. I think it's a pretty solid movie. So that would sound very unsure, but like, it was like, okay. The idea is very cool. The kills in it are fantastic.
Okay.
Every kill in it, you could tell they were like, we're going to put some fucking work into this. But the problem is, in between the kills, and there's like a few scenes where we just cut to the teenagers doing their normal thing, sitting around a campfire.
Yeah.
I like that shit. That's
breaking bottles.
That's it. Being stupid. That's where the movie is. That's where the movie works.
Realistic.
But then every time somebody dies or something happens, there was literally just 5 minutes of a dude walking through a forest. You know what it felt like? It felt like one of those like old PS1 loading screens where I'm just like, come on, just gotta get to this video game.
Oh my god! And they give you like the little hint on the bottom.
It's just and he's just like walking. And it's just you just hear footsteps, and it's just like okay, and like it's artsy. It's like that's what the point of the movie is. But I'm like, I don't know.
You could have done something more.
There was 1 or 2 times where I'm like, okay, come on, let's go.
What's the movie called?
Of a Violent Nature. It's either of a violent nature or in a violent nature.
Okay,
I want to say it's of a violent nature, but
interesting.
So yeah, filmed in Ontario, filmed like right around here.
Yeah.
So if you check it out, it's pretty cool. But
you don't even remember what you were saying.
Why did we fucking bring this up? We were talking about Friday the 13th. We're just sick of kills and shit like that.
Yeah.
Why did we bring that up? I don't remember.
Why did you bring it up?
I think you brought it up. You're the one who brought up Friday the 13th.
Oh, I did because I don't remember now.
Anyway.
I just said I'm sick of just the walking. Like, it's boring.
So, this movie, so the end of the movie.
I love that you're going to listen to this later and go,
like,
that's what she was talking about. And we
totally straight off. So, I think a big problem with this movie for me is it's...
because it's PG-13.
Oh, that's... Maybe we were talking... Anyway, I think... the movie came out after Fight Club, and that's kind of a big issue too. Like right after Fight Club. So it's like, I mean that technically spoils Fight Club. I apologize. For anybody who hasn't seen Fight Club, fucking stop listening for the next 2 minutes. But the fact that they're the same person.
Yeah.
Is very much like Fight Club. And I'm like, that just came out. It's kind of like a weird, interesting, like.
Yeah. I do love the twist at the end with the corn.
Yeah.
If I was to kill anybody, that's one way I would do it.
It's clever. What's with the braces?
Eating too much corn, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know, because he has braces now. And he pointed it out to the girl. He's like, look, I got braces now. It's just odd. What's that about? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he would do it. There must be a reason. There must have been a conversation. Or I thought it was just him eating too much corn.
Oh, maybe.
That's what I thought.
It's just implies he eats corn all the time, eh?
Well, he kind of has.
Smart, yeah. Okay, so another thing. So the movie is called Secret Window, obviously. The story that it's based off of is called... Sorry, I'm not sure if it's one way or the other, but it's called Secret Window, Secret Garden, I believe.
Yeah.
It's either that or Secret Garden, Secret Window. So if you're going to take one of those two... He took Secret Window. Would you... I would have called it Secret Garden, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think so, too.
Because the garden's way more important than the window.
Yeah, I can see why he would say Secret Windows, because she was so excited about the Secret Window.
Yeah.
I think he should have kept the whole title.
Secret Window, Secret Garden. Although, what's Shooter's story's name? It's like Sewing something? Sewing Time or something like that? Because that's a cool title, too. That's a great title.
I don't remember.
Another thing I don't like to shit on the movie a lot because I actually do not mind the movie. I'm not a big fan of the whole like every now and again there's like a scene where they show something and they'll cut to like the happier times. I'm like whatever. And I there's probably for such a great cast there are 2 or 3 moments where I'm like, this is not well acted. Or maybe it's just not well written. Maybe it's just overwritten or something. The scene where Mort's like, where Johnny Depp's character is like, oh, I'm getting divorced. And the guy's like, oh, did you bang one of your things? That's not even the worst part. So then, did you bang one of your groupies? And Johnny Depp's like, he kind of like looks at him. And then he turns the clock off and he's like, I'm real sorry. That was really uncalled for. Just him apologizing is like, it's just oddly written or something. It's just him saying it. I'm like, oh, maybe it's just filmed weird or something. I don't know. Just that one's odd. And then her with the secret window, when she discovers the secret window, I'm like, oh, this is like something out of a soap opera. It's oddly filmed or written.
She's like, oh, it's a secret window.
Look, it's our secret window. It's just like, what the fuck? fuck is
She's like,
going
and then
on
I'm gonna
right
put my garden out there, and it'll be just our garden.
It's like, all right, whatever. And one more thing, this is the last negative thing I'm going to say about the movie. I do weirdly think that Shooter maybe shows up a pinch too early. I think that he shows up pretty much at the beginning of the movie. Like as soon as, so we do the opening where he catches his wife in bed.
Yeah.
And then we cut to him on the couch, and instantly the door knocks. There's a knock at the door. He opens it, and the guy's there. But it's just, I feel like there should have been one more scene.
Okay.
Just something, maybe his wife showing up, somebody showing up and being like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then...
I definitely think that maybe somebody should have, or he got a phone call that said, hey, buddy, just letting you know, someone reached out, they think you plagiarized. And he'll be like, I didn't fucking plagiarize, whatever.
Yeah.
And just that phone call, at least then he had the opportunity to fix it, but then the whole ending doesn't matter.
And that's true. That doesn't make sense either, because the whole thing with John Turturro is like, no, I want it to be between us.
Oh.
But anyway, but you're right, though. Something, though. I just feel like there should have been something before that. But that's just a nitpicky, stupid thing. That's a dumb thing to nitpick about. But one thing I will say that I think is super positive about the movie, there's a shot in the opening that I think is perfect. I love it. Because it opens with him in the car.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there. And then his inner monologue's like, turn around, go home. Turn around, go home. And then he I'm trying to remember exactly how it happens. But he
drives forward away, and then he reverses, and reverses to the front door. Grabs the key.
So what happens is, exactly. Sorry. That's it right there. Right. Okay, so he drives out, but the camera stays on the hood as he drives out of the parking lot.
And then whenever he reverses,
the camera stays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's a solid shot.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, obviously some random PA or somebody working had to pull the camera off the hood, but it's like, it was perfectly done. Like, perfectly set up. It's a great shot in the opening. I'm a big fan.
Mine is, there's a camera that goes from outside through the window, and it goes in the house. How do they do that?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because then it gets worse. It goes from outside, through the window, down the stairs, and then through the mirror. Because it's his back.
Oh.
And then it goes through the mirror, and then you're looking at his back. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I remember Panic Room did a lot of that. Like, in shots that were impossible, and they did it all using CGI. But I don't think this was CGI. I think this was just clever camera moves.
Because I could say it was like a little
drone, but there's not drones.
There's no drones yet.
So it's actually funny we brought up James Wan earlier. James Wan did this movie early in his career. I want to say it was maybe his third movie or his fourth movie. It was called Death Sentence. It was like a pretty solid action movie. It was like the one movie that he did that wasn't a horror movie before he does Aquaman.
Okay.
He does, and Fast and the Furious, but he does
the new Aquaman.
Yeah, he did the first. He's done all the Aquaman.
That movie's
movies.
Amazing.
Yeah, he did them all. He's pretty good. And then he also did the 7th Fast and the Furious movie, which is actually pretty solid. He's He's a very good director. But he did this action movie starring Kevin Bacon. But there's a scene where it's all one take. It's in a parking garage, and it's like Kevin Bacon running on the top floor, and then the camera, like, he's running away from it, and the camera's panning back. And then it goes off the side, goes like 2 floors down, and then goes forward to where the villains are. But it's all in one take. And it's one of those things where it's like, how the fuck do you do that? And it's literally just a dude. He's got the camera and he's running, and then he passes it off to another dude, and then gets out of the way. And then that dude's on a rig that goes down, and then he passes it off to somebody else. And I want to say it goes like through a car too and stuff. And it's just literally a bunch of people passing it off to other people. And it's just so...
Because they have a stabilizer.
Yes, and it's just so spectacularly filmed. And I think this is one of those, where it's just a bunch of people just passing it off to each other, and it just looks fantastic.
For anybody who doesn't know what that is, because I just found out, It's something that holds your camera, and no matter how much you move it, the camera stays in the same spot.
Yeah.
It's like hydraulics inside or something. I'm not sure how it stays, but you could turn the whole thing sideways and the camera will stay perfectly.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to explain
I don't know how they went through the window, through
looks-
the mirror.
looks
It's like,
great.
what are
Looks
you
great.
talking about? Over the balcony, going. It's like, not even down the stairs. I'm like, that's a human. Over the balcony, going down. It's like, holy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I think it definitely went down a little bit now that I rewatched it.
Yeah, it's a fine movie. Like I said, it's very competently made.
I think it's because I
written.
already know the ending and I've already seen it so many times. But I'm happy we watched one of my movies.
Yeah.
Yay.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No,
Okay. The only question I have is, why did he kill the dog?
to make a message.
Yeah, but I can
Oh, because he killed his own dog.
yeah. So why would he do that?
He killed his own dog.
Yeah, because I could kind of explain everything away. I could explain, okay, he burnt down the house, so
Because there was no proof.
so that way there's no proof. That makes sense to me. He killed the detective and the guy because the guy pretty much said,
He was alone.
"You were alone, bro."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Well, I gotta kill these two guys now." So that makes sense, but I don't understand why he killed the dog.
That is a good question. Even if he like had a fight with the dog or something, but the fact that the dog was his best friend.
Yeah,
Good question.
Anyway.
I didn't even think of that.
that's the
What
only
an
one.
a-hole. I would never kill my cat.
I know.
I would die. I'd rather be dead than kill Trixie. She needs to be my slippers one day. She's really soft.
Terrible. She is fucking soft, actually.
She is really soft.
All right, that's all I got.
Me too. Bye, 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 bye.